Welcome to everyone in Prep 2. Mr. Mohammed Omar with you. We have studied before Unit 1 in Algebra. Now we will study Unit 2. Unit 2 in Algebra is non-negative and negative integer power in R and the operation on them. In this unit we have 3 lessons. The first lesson is non-negative and negative integer power in R. I hope everyone benefits from the lesson. Okay, let's start with non-negative integer power. The definition is, if a belongs to real number and n belongs to positive integer, then a power n equals a times a times a and so on, where a is repeated as a factor n times. To understand, let's take example. For example, a square root of 2 to the power 5 equals square root of 2 times itself 5 times. But in example 2, negative square root of 2 to the power 4 equals negative square root of 2 times itself only 4 times because the power is 4. And in the third example, negative square root of 5 to the power 3 equals negative square root of 5 times itself only 3 times because the power is 3. And then we make multiply to get the result. You know that you can use calculator if you can't calculate by itself. Okay, my dear students, we have some remarks. Remark number 1, if A belongs to R star. R star means the set of non-zero real number. Then a power 0 equals 1. It means any number belongs to real number and not equal to 0, power 0 equals 1. For example, square root of 5 power 0 equals 1 and negative 2 times square root of 3 power 0 also equals 1. This is number 1. And number 2, from the repeated multiplication, you know that negative 4 to the power 2 equals 16. It means the sign are cancelled if the power is even number. And negative 4 to the power 3 equals negative 64. It means the sign are not cancelled if the power is an odd number. So the rule is negative a to the power n equals a to the power n if n is an even number, and negative a to the power n equals negative a power n if n is an odd number. Okay, this is firstly. And secondly is negative integer power in R. The definition is, if a is a real number and a not equal to 0 and n is a positive integer, then a power negative n equals 1 over a power positive n, and a power n equals 1 over a power negative n. So if we found the sign to the power of the number is negative, we put it in the denominator with positive sign. For example, 5 to the power negative 2 equals 1 over 5 power 2. So equals 1 over 25. And 1 over 2 to the power negative 3 equals 2 power 3. And 2 power 3 equals 8. And this is to explain what we talk about. But we must note that a power n and a power negative n are the multiplicative inverse of each other. It means a power n times a power negative n equals 1. Okay, now let's take some example. Find in the simplest form each of the following. Number 1, square root of 5 to the power 3. It means we make multiply to square root of 5 by itself 3 times. And in example number 2, square root of 3 to the power negative 2. In this example, the sign of the power is negative, so we put it in the denominator by positive sign. So square root of 3 to the power negative 2 equals 1 over square root of 3 to the power positive 2 equals 1 over 3. And in the third example, 2 over 5 to the power negative 2. To remove the negative sign, we make replace between 2 and 5. So 2 over 5 to the power negative 2 equals 5 over 2 to the power positive 2. And we know that 5 power 2 equals 25 and 2 power 2 equals 4. Etc. The other example. Read it by yourself. In this table, we have some important rules of non-negative and negative integer power in R. Number 1, a power m times a power n equals a power m plus ln. We have studied before, if we make multiply to the numbers of the same base, we make addition to the power. For example, 4 power 3 times 4 power 2. 4 is the same base, so we put it 4 and then we make addition to the power. 3 plus 2 equals 5. So we say 4 power 3 times 4 power 2 equals 4 power 3 plus 2 equals 4 power 5. And the rule number 2, a power m over a power n equals a power m minus n. Also, we have studied before, if you divide numbers of the same base, you subtract the powers. For example, 3 power 6 over 3 power 2 equals 3 power 6 minus 2 equals 3 power 4. Number 3, ab to the power n equals a power n times b power n. It means we make distribution to the power. For example, 3 times 4 to the power 2 equals 3 power 2 times 4 power 2. And number 4, also we make distribution. If we have two powers, we must multiply this is two powers. Look at this example. Find in the simplest form each of the following. Number 1, square root of 3 to the power 7 times square root of 3 to the power negative 9 times square root of 3 to the power 4. All numbers have the same base, so we put one base and then make addition to all powers. So the result is square root of 3 power 7 plus negative 9 plus 4. And then put it in the simplest form. And also in example number 2, the two numbers have the same base, so we put one base and then make subtract to the powers, because this is division, not multiplication. So the result is square root of 2 power 1 negative negative 2. And then make simplest to the result. Example number 3. Simplify. Square root of 5 to the power 7 times square root of 5 to the power negative 5 over square root of 5 to the power negative 2. To put it in the simplest form, first of all we look at to the numerator. In the numerator we have two numbers. Two numbers have the same base, So we make addition to the powers. So the result is square root of 5 powers 7 plus negative 5. Now we have two numbers. The first is in numerator and the second is in denominator. Also, the two numbers have the same base, so we take one numbers and then make subtract to the powers because this is division. So the result is square root of 5 to the power 2 negative negative 2, and then put the result in the simplest form. And finally, example number 4. If x equals 3 and y equals the square root of 3, find the value of each of the following in the simplest form. Example number 1. X times y power 2. To solve, we make substitution about the value of x and value of y, and then solve it as a normal example. So we say 3 power 2 times square root of 3 power 2 equals 3 power 2 equals 9, and square root of 3 power 2 equals 3, and 9 times 3 equals 27. And example number 2, this is perfect square. And after factorize, we make substitution about the value of x and the value of y, and then get the result. Now we are finished our lesson. Thank you for listening.